John Foltz, Director of User Interface Technology at Wolfram Research, and I am here to talk about the front end. And this is sort of an overview, stuff we've been doing over the last years, stuff that we're kind of in process on. If you've been to my previous talks, it's sort of a similar format. I'm going to go over some things that some of them are finished in 14.1. Of course, 14.1 released after, well after the last conference, and some things are in 14.2, which I understand there are potentially beta copies going out soon, and we're looking to ship it in the next number of weeks or so. So definitely going to be focusing on those things, but I'm also going to end my talk with a few things that they're in 14.2, but they're in sort of an experimental state. And this is sort of a thing that we do. We ship on about 6-month cycles, and sometimes what we do is we get the core of the technology into one version of the product so that we can really kind of make it production ready and live in the next version of the product. And since you get to listen to talks like this, you get to hear a little bit about that in advance. Those things will come toward the end of my talk and are marked with the little beaker icon. So let's begin. So I'm going to start off with a few things that were in 14.1. You may be aware, but if not, I think it's good to be talking about them. So first of all, the equal bracket operator, and the so we have had plain language inputs for a long time. There are various ways to get plain language inputs into the input, but one of the most versatile is using the control equal functionality. So if you press control equal, it's control equal on every platform. You get this input field with the orange equal sign here, and it allows you to create just a little zone of something that is computable. And generally, although you can put in certainly a number of things, it's driven by Wolfram Alpha, so a number of things that Wolfram Alpha would recognize, but generally the most useful sorts of things tend to be things which parse to entities or entity classes or things related to entities, like this London here, or things which parse to quantity expressions, which is to say expressions with units. So, and this being an example of, in this case, a somewhat interesting unit. The unit is people in this case. So the and just to make it clear in terms of, so you can see it being done interactively, I type in control equal, I type in something like hydrogen or something like that, and I get my entity out of there, or similarly, 9.8 meters per second squared, and I get the appropriate units out of that. Okay, so that's all fine, but these rich sort of interfaces, they're nice, and they allow you to, to maybe I didn't mean London in the United Kingdom, maybe I meant another London, maybe I meant London, Ohio, for example, or something like that. So, these interfaces are sort of nice, but they don't work well outside of notebooks. If you want to communicate with other people through email or social media, or you want to write package code where it's a plain text affair. And so in that case, it's nice to just be able to type something that is just sort of regular input. And so that's what we have here. And so in this case, I've just have something that's 10 gigabytes divided by 1 gigabit per second. And this was, well, I did put it in the fraction bar, but I didn't have to type the fraction bar. I could have, hey, look at that, network timed out. Yay. There we go. Okay. Um, so yes, this is an easy way for me to determine how long it's going to take to download 10 gigabits or gigabytes over a 1 gigabit connection. So this is something that's super easy to type in, and obviously, if there's a lot of ambiguity here, then maybe you don't want to do this, but uh, a number of the applications, like we talked about, they're fairly clear if I'm typing in oops, if I'm typing in Illinois, and then I want to see the properties, and there are a lot of properties, so let's not look at all of them. But I accept it helps if there we go. Okay, so that is equal bracket. You can put this, like I said, in your package file. You can send it, as any place where you want plain text code. Okay, auto completions. I talked about, I think in last year's talk, I talked about uh, fuzzy fuzzy matching for completions. And so if you've used programming text editors, you'll see this sort of thing all the time. VS Code or Sublime Text, or various others do this. We didn't quite have the namespace story nailed down though, and this is something that is really, this is a 14.2 story here, and so here I'm. Uh, uh, Remember, don't use arrow keys here. Okay, so here I've got um, uh, I've loaded a package not onto the context path, but I've loaded it into an explicit name. Well, it actually, I've loaded it into its own namespace, but then I've given it an alias so I can, just so that I don't have to type so much. And so now if I want to do, for example, and I'm looking for, git commit, and there we go. And the front end completion knows everything about context aliases. I could have also typed it out the full way. That's fine. Uh, and and there's my sort of fuzzy matching, just a couple letters of each capitalized word. And that quickly gets me to exactly what I'm looking for here. Um, so I'm a big fan of fuzzy matching generally. If you haven't really thought of it this way, it's a nice way to speed up typing. And usually the thing that you want to do is, like I said, just the first couple letters of each capitalized thing is sort of the best way to get a fuzzy match and type it in super quickly. We have lots of other completions as well, and one, it's comparatively small but super nice thing that is coming in 14.2 is we have completions for options. This is something we've already had for option right hand sides, where we show some recommended things that you might want to do. Uh, but what if there isn't anything we could recommend because it's sort of free form? Um, so solve, there are a couple of common possibilities for assumptions, but it depends on what variable you're solving for, or even maybe other variables that might be in the equation, maybe not even the one that you're solving for. So I'm just going to take the completion and and uh, and look at that. Look at that. That was fun. Okay. I am running a development build off my system. I did test this, but obviously I need to do a bit more of a test. So let me get back up and running. Thank you for sticking with me here. Okay. And we're going to start the presentation again. and do the other stuff, which was off screen. There we go. Okay. Okay. So there we go. So let's take that completion, and well, it looks like I okay. Well, it looks like I broke something. Actually, this works in a standard 14.2 build, so I'll just bring that up simultaneously, and I can show it there. That's what I get for trying to do development at the last minute. Thank you again for being patient with me. I won't be able to show everything from this build, but I can show some things. Okay. There we go. And there we go. Okay. So now we have assumptions, which are reasonable assumptions. I might want to constrain some variable to reals or integers or to be positive or something like that. And so these were sorts of reasonable things. But which variable? If we just put in X there, we don't know that it's X. So now we have a class of completions which support placeholders. And so now I can choose I want something greater than 0, and now maybe it's A that I wanted greater than 0, and then I can solve for that. And yay, everything worked. Okay. And so sometimes, sometimes there wasn't really any reasonable completion at all even. So here's another case where yeah, cell frame labels. What was I going to put in cell frame labels? I don't know. But if you're anything like me, you kind of get mixed up. What order is a cell frame label in? Is it bottom first, then top, top first, then bottom? And so now we can just take this and I can cycle through these things and I can type in, and I'm just using tab, by the way, to expertly, now that I know which ones are which, to expertly get it right. Okay. Okay, automatic highlighting. So for a long time, we've had this this kind of yellowing effect, where if you click inside something, it will highlight the delimiters that are around it. So here I've highlighted the quotes because I'm selected in here, but if I move the selection out here, it goes to the curly braces, or if I move out, here I've got the entire head, so it's square brackets at the head, so it's showing me the entire head there. So one thing that we did is, and this is in 14.1, is that we made a change here so that if you have unbalanced delimiters, we've changed the highlight. This is a cue to you that it was always the case that that you would see the individual purple brackets, but they're sometimes a little hard to find. And so now if I click anywhere in here, it's all going to be purple, kind of as an indication to me that there's something going on that's not quite right. Now it was just actually confined to this block here. So if I click down here, I get my yellow back. And I'm going to use this block of code to demonstrate something else as well, which is symbol highlighting. And this is something that you see a lot in programming editors. And so, and this is in 14.1 as well. So I just clicked inside the symbol get status, or I can select it, doesn't matter. But notice that it highlights every other version of get status here. And it knows not to highlight this guy because this is actually a different symbol. It's in a different namespace. So, and it will do this for any symbol, even a system symbol. If I click on false, it'll do all the falses. and it understands patterns. So I can click on the left side of the pattern, I can click on the right side of the pattern. Now, the interesting thing is that it also understands scope. If you look here, the default color is blue. You can change it if that's a problem. And it detects if you have a selection color that is too close to that, and it auto fixes it. So it shows as blue the ones that are in the same scope, but then it also highlights others, but these are in gray. So these are references to the same symbol out of scope. And this is just a really nice way to kind of help to visually navigate your code. I want to get an idea where all of my option handling is. I click an options pattern, and the option handling pops out right away. And so that's something that is just, it's a small affordance, but it's something I certainly had used all the time in other editors, and I wanted to see it in our editor as well. Okay, percent references. If you watched Jason Harris's talk earlier today, you will have seen him talk about this. I will not go into anywhere nearly as much detail as he did, but for those who might not have seen it, I'll just kind of run through an example. Stephen, by the way, refers to this as percent modernization. And so the idea is it's a buffed up version of the percent language element. So here we go. I have some code here that I'm going to run, and I'm taking advantage of the brand new and 14.2 tabular feature, and I get my tabular out, and then because I haven't really used tabular that much, I'm going to try to do a histogram of all the ages of people in there, and oh shoot, I messed it up. Oh yeah, because I have to put all comma age, and now I'm going to evaluate again. And if you've done this before, you're probably screaming no, because now it's all going to be messed up because percent is referring to the wrong thing. Okay, so at this point, of course, that was out 3. You could refer to percent 3, but maybe you can do better. So notice that when I typed in percent 3, I got a little completion here. And so I'm going to accept that completion. Just press tab to accept it. And I get a cutesy little thing, which indicates that I am referring to out 3. And there is my histogram. And you know what? I'm glad I did that, because, oh, yeah, actually what I wanted, I didn't want the histogram of everyone. I wanted the histogram of, let's see, of adults, say greater than or equal 18. And so let's rerun that. And now that's in 7, out 7. And look, this auto updated to referencing 7. Okay. And indeed, it got the right thing. So what exactly is this? The way that I always like to think of it, a standard percent reference is sort of a reference in time, which is to say I did a thing at a certain point in the history of the kernel, and unless I fiddled with the history, like there's something like that, that thing is stable and there forever until I end my kernel session, and then it's gone forever. It would be, and so our thinking about this was, wouldn't it be nice if percent could reference a position in the notebook instead? And if it could, then it could survive even when the kernel restarts, or maybe even when the front end restarts. And in fact, it does. And so here we go. I have an example, which, and you saw it was kind of a dead animal before, but now I populated to %9. And here we go. And so I can update, and then it updates again. Now it's %11, and I can do that. I can put something in between, and that's okay. Everything will still work, and everything will still work here. And I can even cut it and paste it once. because that's like a move. If I made multiple copies, that's not a move any longer. But I can then change it again. There we go. And there we go. It's still linked up. Okay, so that is the idea of percent reference. The easiest way to get them is you just type in percent and it will give you, and let me do this up above where it's not going to cut off the menu, and it will give you a list of kind of all of the recent sorts of things. If you type the number, it will narrow that list down. So that's percent reference. Okay, so now we're on to the experimental things. Well, when I say experimental, we have a pretty good idea of what we're doing here. It's just not 100% deployed yet. Label graphics box. If you're familiar with the details of notebooks, you know that we work with boxes. It's kind of the description language of everything that you're typing in or work with inside of a notebook. And so this is low level. We build low level stuff so that we can build higher level stuff on top of it. And this is the higher level stuff hasn't been built yet, but this is coming. So this is trying to solve a problem. What is a problem? Well, so we have a label here. That's fine. But when you select the graphic, the selection for the graphic didn't include the label. That's sort of interesting. Not even when I resize. And that has some unpleasant properties. So here I have, this was fine. This is what I wanted. I do my selection, and now, well, now look at this. This label is just so much wider, and I you know, this was probably not what I wanted. It would have been nice if I could have gotten it to word wrap or something like that. So now plot label, which is very old, does live inside the graphic, but plot label has certain kind of weird behaviors, and you can see it's already clipping things off here, and if I resize, it's just going to clip off more. And we could try to change this, but plot label is very old, very stable. There are a lot of behaviors that people have relied on for many years, and also plot label it's always at the top. So what do we do about that? So this is the idea. Sorry, this code is a bit of a dog's breakfast, but this is what happens when you're dealing with boxes. And so here we go. I have a thing that has two labels on it. And now I can resize, and we still have a little bit of a clipping issue that happens. I challenged it a bit with the multiple labels, and but you can see the labels are even, are even kind of overlapping XY positions, and so it's a bit of a challenge there. But yeah, so this is the idea of what's coming. And then the next thing is one of the most exciting. Yes, we are finally working on dark mode. Oh, and also color themes. So it's production ready. Dark mode isn't going to be ready yet for 14.2, but some of the tech that we're building is going to be in there. I do expect a full dark mode version to be available in the spring 2025 release. Okay, well, so you can believe me or not, but oops, that's not what I wanted to do. But let's there we go. Okay, let's. And I had this notebook open earlier. Oh, yes, that's right. For this, I do need my special front end. So let me get that going. And I know I'm running a bit close on time. This is really the final thing that I want to talk about. Okay, so here we go. Okay, and so this shows the beginnings of what we're building. So here I have something which is which I can toggle into dark mode. Notice that all the window elements kind of went into dark mode as well. The toolbar, the toolbar, some of the controls could have been better. That's why it's not production ready yet. There's a lot of details to go in here, but it's not just it's not just a dark mode. It's also kind of themable. I don't have themes to play with, so I put together random themes. Look, here we go, and then again, and then again. Or I can make themes which are kind of variations of blues. That wasn't so blue. Oh, I think that's right. I need to reevaluate something here. Not that. I lost that when my front end crashed. Okay, so there we go. Okay, so okay, so now I think, yeah, there we go. There we go. So themes that are bluish. I can go into light mode and I can get also my bluish themes or my random themes, and everything it all happens at draw time. Not much computation going on here. So this is accomplished. The symbols, which will be documented in 14.2, might not be in the version that you have yet, but will be documented. Light dark, which is an option for setting reading the mode of a window. Different windows can be different. Light dark switched, when you have two colors you want to choose depending on light or dark mode, and theme color. And theme color is the so that's the if I want to do style of some text, font color, theme color of accent 2, and let's also make that big so you can see it. There we go. And it's picking up accent 2. This bar here is showing the colors that we have to start off with. And I've gone a bit over time, so I'm going to end there. And let me take a look at any questions that I can speed through real quick. Okay, so George asks about split windows. When are we getting those? I hope not this version, but hey, dark mode. So I we're ticking the boxes. So okay, let's see. Reading through the questions here. Some of these are a little more than I want to go into right now, and I apologize for that. But if you want to stick around, I will see if I can answer a bunch of these after kind of the official end. Let's see. Someone asked about symbol highlight color being in preferences. There actually there is stuff in the preferences dialog for that, but there's a lot of stuff in the preferences dialog, so it can be difficult to find stuff there too. A few questions about debugging, which are way beyond what I can answer right now. Let's see. Someone's asking about since we have automatic highlighting, can we do an automated refactoring? No, not yet, but it is on our roadmap. So yes, that is definitely something that we're thinking about. Drag and drop GUI builder. We've toyed with the idea. It doesn't work as well as you might think it would, for us at least. We've tried pretty hard on that one, and I'm not real. I don't like its odds of coming back. Side-by-side cells, I would say, we have attached cells, we have grids. These are maybe not kind of perfect substitutes, but the attached cells in particular, there's a lot of flexibility in attached cells, which can help for some use cases. And I think I'm going to end it there and let people take off. And maybe I'll give a couple minutes for people to take off, and then I'll open the chat. Anyone who's left around in chat can prod me with their particular question. I was late getting my notebook together. I will get a notebook out, but it'll be a bit late compared probably to some of the other notebooks you're receiving. Um, Themes for people with visual impairments. I think that the idea of our implementation with was that it wasn't just going to be necessarily one stylistic dark mode, but it can really be any theme that you want. And if you're looking for a high contrast theme or something like that, it will be easy for us to assemble those things, and it will be easy for you to construct what you want as well. The question about customizing keyboard shortcuts. Yes, yeah, that's don't disagree. That's on our list. The current best way to put text into graphics at a particular position and size. I mean, it's going to be inset, but inset is sort of a complex animal. And yeah. If you have some specific cases that you want to work up, we have a front end office hour that is going to be this afternoon, 3 o'clock Central Time. I think it's 3 o'clock. And would love to see some people there bringing some specific problems that we can kind of chew through. Okay, so we have at least, I don't know if it was multiple people or one person who said it a few times, but fans of the Macintosh scroll bars that go away. And yes, it's a topic that comes up. Of course, there's some controversy because not everyone is totally in favor of it for their own use, but we understand that Macintosh has a certain standard, and it's not right around the corner. But we are certain it's certainly something that is on our big list of stuff to do. Okay. Just going through anything else that was in the chat. And let me go back to the Q&A, see if there's okay, so I answered, yeah, okay. Let's see. Yeah, okay, so stuff was asked about the debugger. I'll be honest, debugger has not seen the debugger that's inside the front end has not seen a lot of attention. We fix bugs in it occasionally, but we haven't added any new functionality. And for a long time, it was sort of my impression that that people who want to do hardcore debugging, would go to Workbench. The Workbench product has not been as well maintained as I thought it might be, and so maybe that's something that we should revisit. So thank you for showing interest in voting for that. Okay. Someone asked about a refactoring IDE for Wolfram language. I am not the biggest VS Code user, but I personally used Sublime, but the VS Code has that functionality and a pretty good version of the Wolfram language plugin that you can work with. Well, actually, Sublime does too. VS Code is free. So there was a talk, I think, earlier this morning about the VS Code plugin. If you haven't seen it, maybe go back and whenever the recording is available, go and take a look at that. and that's probably where I would go for something that's available today for you to work with. The Even though VS Code is Microsoft, but there is a standard for working with languages that they adhere to, and we've encoded the semantics of our language into that standard, so things should work. Um, let's see, and I think I am going to end it there, but I do encourage people to come to the office hour. Um, and if you want to hunt me down personally, I've exposed my info, my ability to be contacted, I believe, on the uh, conference site. So if you want to message me, I will. I may not respond immediately, but I will definitely get back to you. Okay, thank you very much.